So Chad, last few games, it seems like the offense is starting to find its rhythm. I mean, is that true? Coaches like where it is going, and how much more can it?
It can go. It can get even better than what it's been. To be honest with you, we still hadn't played our best. But what we're doing right now is what we believe we can be offensively coming into the football season. Being able to control line of scrimmage, run the football effectively, be able to pass the football effectively, be able to extend plays and have the ability to be able to create, within the scheme and, around a Garrett. But this is actually that's where we thought we could be coming into the season.
How much better can it get? You said it's not got it to its peak yet.
It can get a whole lot better, and more so just continuing to do the little things. We still have a couple technical issues, technique issues within certain schemes, and that can make a certain concept, a certain play that much better. Because sometimes in some certain places, certain positions, certain people can strain just a little bit more harder to make a play go that much further than what it happens.
Running back guy, I'm sure you saw that stat. Showed it to the players. 11 straight games with 140-plus yards rushing. Considering the different guys that you've had up front, the different guys that are running the ball, it's kind of a team deal, isn't it?
Absolutely. Complete team deal. It's a testament to Coach Moore and the guys up front, and those guys being able to plug and play. Obviously had a lot of injuries in that room, and the next man up. Same thing in my room. It's credit to those guys, preparing and paying attention and practice, and execute plays in which they should be within practice, like their game reps, and it's also a testament to the Garrett at the quarterback spot, not taking negative plays, and what in the past would taking an unnecessary sack that would cause you to lose yards is doing a phenomenal job extending plays with his legs.
Chad, last week you had said throughout practice you were going to be on Jaheim every step of the way.
Every step of the way.
Positive results. I'm assuming
absolutely positive results, and I did that exact same thing. Exactly what I told you. I was on him every step of the way. He had his best week of preparation, and I know he's productive in the game. I was more proud of the fact that he only had one negative play. He was his discipline was 95% from a discipline standpoint, and that's a testament to him. Just like me being on him and him being on himself and paying attention. So I'm gonna do that same exact thing for the rest of the season.
We got to talk to him. He's pretty self-confident. He's a self-confident dude.
He really very, very confident. He's very confident. He's a kid that's had success all throughout his life through Pop Warner and on high school on up. So very confident. I like to keep that in him. Right now, he just go. I don't know if he thinks about anything. Just go out there and just play ball, and that's a great thing. It ain't a bad thing.
Right.
He also talked about that he feels one of the things he did a lot better this past week that led him to get more opportunities was his body language was better. Is that something you've noticed, and did you have to maybe get used to his demeanor and body language? Because he said actually past coaches have kind of been confused by it.
Yeah, more so like the way I term it with him, more so like being where his feet at. Sometimes bad body language, he kind of mopes around as if he's not in it, and that may not be the case, but, getting him to understand the importance of what his body language reads, what his body language says outside of him not saying anything, just what his body language tells everyone. But I call it be where your feet at. Pay attention to what's going on. So when you get in the game, you can line them right the first time. You can get it right. Off the signal, off the play caller, as opposed to somebody telling you, or you getting it the second or third time, and just being a lot more locked in, so you know what's going on. So when the ball snaps, he can be more reactionary, which allows him to use his gifts.
Curious, was there a little nonverbal message when you had your starting lineup at running back? Because it seems like CJ got the message.
Yeah, absolutely. It exactly was a message. He did get the message, and it's more of us. It's one of the reasons why I like to say we won this game. I think I put something out where I'm very proud of how this team played. It's more of a team versus a need, or a team versus a we deal. You always got to do what's best for the football team, and he absolutely did get the message. And he responded. I like the way he responded throughout the week. And he said some things. He's a very self-conscious, self-aware kid as well, and he said some things like he's been a lot more explosive, or a lot more attentive to details in practice. Doing a phenomenal job getting back to the basics. So he's very self-aware, and he worked on all the things last week, and he responded really well.
He said he ran a little mad, too. I think you want him to run mad, right?
Ain't no doubt. That was the message, and they responded. He did.
Chad, the mix of running backs there, like starting Justin and mixing him and Jaheim and CJ, but by the time he got to the fourth quarter, CJ was, I guess, fresh. And the defense was worn down a little bit. I don't know if you planned it like that or if you noticed it was going that way, but
Say it one time.
I don't know if you planned it that way, maybe you did, or if you just noticed it was going that way and you continued that way, but it just seemed like the right mix of players and snaps, and then the timing lined up good at the end. Was that intentional going in, or
that was very intentional? Absolutely, very not by chance at all. Very intentional. In the previous week, Justin played really well. So he thought he deserved the opportunity to get started, and I wanted to keep those guys fresh, and we got a talented room. We've been trying to find the right balance of how to play those guys where they get rhythm. I thought the previous week, Justin and CJ is a pretty good combination, and we always want to find a way to get Jaheim touches. And so the mindset was going in that game was to, play those two guys and let them establish a rhythm and also get Jaheim touches. He's very special with the ball in his hands, and he got going. He got hot, and he's a kid on his offense. Him and Rodney Gallagher, they could do some things with the ball in their hand that we can't coach. And so once he got going, I thought it was, the right thing to also keep the ball in his hand, let him continue to make big plays, and then that kind of rhythm, allowed CJ to stay fresh and, be able to run angry and more determined than he had been the last couple of weeks as well, that he was a lot more fresh, and then put him in a great situation toward the end to be able to come through like we need him to in the end and close out the game for us.
What's left for Garrett? I mean, it seems like he's playing very well, but is there more left that he hasn't even done yet?
I believe so. He's still he'll tell you, he's doing a great job of extending plays. He's playing a lot smarter, than he has in the past. Not having a lot of negative plays, but it's still some couple read decisions on run reads where he might make the wrong decision, and it's kind of risky deal because you never want to take away his creative ability, and that's any of those guys with playmaking ability. So it's a fine line sometimes. I know one plays where he kind of got dinged up a little bit. It was one where it was a wrong decision, So just on his read decision, him being so competitive, he'd love for himself too, and we'd love for him too to be 100%, and that.
Are these reads keeping it as opposed to
yes,
handing
sir.
it off?
It's keeping it or handing it off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you giving? I know Neil said that you're giving him more. Are you giving him things where he can change the play and see something and get him either in a different direction or a completely different play?
Nah, we'll look that stuff for him. We'll look that for him. We hadn't gone that far to give him the ability to change it on his own. Now within certain pass plays, he can check a route or whatnot to a receiver. But as far as like the checking it completely out of a concept, we'll do that for him. It's more so once we get him in the right situation, the right call, the right look defensively. Him making that right decision to keep it. And sometimes it's great. Those defense guys do a great job too, not making it just a 100% keep it read, 100% give read. So it'll come with just more, a lot more reps.
CJ and Jaheim look totally different. I mean, they're different kinds of backs and everything, but they seem to be the same kind of person. Talk a little bit about the personalities they have and what drives them.
Both outgoing, both comical, jokesters. Got great relationship, more like a big brother to a little brother. Like I'll say this, and this was a great step too for both of them, particularly for CJ. Jaheim's worst day of last week was probably Saturday morning. It wasn't probably, definitely Saturday morning of the walkthrough. First play getting the game, and it's something that he's gotten right all week. Could have been one of those situations where it wasn't where his feet was, but couldn't get lined up. Ran it again, couldn't get lined up again. Ran it again, couldn't get lined up again. It's on Saturday morning before the football game. And CJ said, "Coach, I got him. Don't say nothing to him. I got him." And he pulls him over there and said, "Man, listen, this kind of stuff that keep you off the football field, man. You got to lock in and do what you're supposed to do, man." And he said, "Coach, don't worry about it. I got him. He's going to be all right." And I thought that was a huge step. None of the coaches got upset. We didn't get upset. Coach Brown didn't get upset. We proceeded on. We got to play right. Then we got him out of there and ran the next play, but CJ took that upon himself, said, "Coach, I got him." So that was a huge step. They got a great relationship, and that's kind of leadership you want, the kind of leadership you need. Sometimes, it's better for the teammates to say that kind of thing to them as opposed to the coach because they'll respond better. Sometimes they feel it's the coach says it to me, "Oh, man, he's not going to put me in." So I thought that was a huge step Saturday morning.
Is the development of an offense the beginning where the coaches prepare the players, then basically call the plays and manage the game, to then the players have the ability to have some freedom within the concepts, to at the other end, you prepare them for the week and then the players play. Is that the evolution of an offense, and where would you guys be in that on that graph?
We're at the point right now where we do a great job putting together a game plan that those guys believe in. Those guys have say-so in, particularly Garrett. You know, Garrett said earlier in the week last week, Coach, I really like this game plan. You know, you want to build around those guys where they like it, you know, feel good about it. And it's been that way thus far. It's really that way last week. They enjoyed that. Try to be creative, you know, change the looks every snap. And then ultimately, you always tell those guys, you know, it ain't the play that's called, man. It's a player behind the play that's called. Also, we're going to call the play to try to put the ball in the hands of the best guys that can make a play for us. And at that point, they go out there and make the play. Coach Brown made a big emphasis on Friday morning, I believe, and I reiterated that same message Friday night about, you know, he talked about shooting your shot. And I've always said that catchers catch, runners run, throwers throw, you know, blockers block. And, you know, we had 4th and 2, critical situation, critical play. And Coach, you know, wanted to go for it. We was on timeout, and I said, this is a head coach's job. This head coach's time. He's shooting his shot right now. I said, so Tanya, you guys shoot your shot. You know, he's shooting his shot, going for a 4th and 2. You guys shoot your shot. And those guys went out and executed the play, and Garrett made a phenomenal throw to, you know, to E.J. Horton. He caught the ball, big-time play.
I mean, you can only – when you call a play and you set up a play and you design it, there's only so much you can do. It's out of your control once the guys have it.
Right.
Are they giving you the reactions, and are they seeing the things like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do there? Are you seeing more of that?
Well, they are. Even more so that is that, you know, when I'm saying that, they're in the huddle. They're like, man, Coach, man, that's a great analogy right there, man. You know, and then they start talking amongst one another like, man, let's go do this. We got this. We can do this. We know we can go do this. So once they start, and I said that, you know, I asked those guys way back in the spring, how good you want to be? You don't have to tell me this right now, but how good you want to be? And I reiterated that to them last week. That I think they know now how good they can be. And they starting to see the results as a result of it. They're doing the little things to create those big things. So now they start to talk amongst each other that they can go make those plays. That, you know, and for those guys to start fast, go down and score in the first drive, for us to finally end the game in our own hands. Not, you know, where the defense made a play and, you know, we finally got the ball back and we just got to nail it, but where we finished the game in a 4-minute situation and we got first downs, you know, to take a knee and get in victory formation. So just seeing little things like that we're emphasizing that's happening. And, you know, I give you an example of, we talked about receivers being able to recognize coverage and that the best block sometimes is just running the defensive back off. We had 2 touchdowns in the backfield with CJ and Jaheim White where Preston Fox runs the DB in the back of the end zone. Jaheim walks in. We had one with E.J. Horton on CJ's touchdown. Recognizes the cover one and runs at the back of the end zone, and the DB has no idea he scored until he turns around. Just those little things like that those guys, you know, starting to buy into and understand that, you know, we're their God-given ability. If they could do the little things that we're coaching them to do, man, like with their God-given ability, they'll be in a one-on-one situation where they could do some of the special things you guys have been seeing with those guys with the ball in the hand. Say it one more time. He can give more. We can get more. He's doing a bunch of good things, and you know he just need to be more consistent. You know, consistent in what? Just consistent in his pad level and blocking, consistent in his playmaking ability. You know, he had a ball the other day that, you know, he's caught a tougher ball in the past, and he knows it. You know, he got to make that play, but he's making plays. You know, we need to get more consistency out of him. Huge, critical.
How do you coach that? Because watching it back, it's like he just knew it was there.
Yeah.
How do you coach
I'll tell you, we talk about our standards just about every day. You can ask those guys, they'll tell you. And one of those standards is strength. Force yourself or your body part to do something usually great. And the guy that's at 6'5", 6'6", or 300 pounds strains and beats like 3 defenders to that ball and crawls up and gets in a fetal position at 6'5", 6'6", and that's just something that we emphasize absolutely every day, training. You know, so we emphasize that part. Him at that particular time, just, you know, having awareness and just continue to play through the whistle. You know, I think what put him in position to do that. And that's a testament to how those guys practice. Because if you don't practice that way, if you don't strain and practice, nothing about, you know, anything within your attitude or anything tells you to do that in the game if you don't practice that way. And those guys practice that way, in particular him, because he came back. That was his first game off an injury. I think he was ahead of the schedule, did a phenomenal job in rehab, putting himself in position to come back and play. So his strain was what put him in position.
Neil got obviously coached an aggressive game against UCF.
Yeah.
Now, Neil's calling plays, but what does that do for you? Does that do for the offense when he gets that aggressive? And have you, because you're part of the planning and things like that, of what plays are going to be called, what type of coach would you say you are in terms of that aggressiveness?
Same way. And actually, you know, I tell him, great call, coach. What should we call that play, coach? You know, we want him to be that aggressive. Give him great encouragement to do it, that we back him up, and that is the right call. You know, and again, and that's something that we emphasize with those players. We're going to prepare you guys well. You're going to know the plan. It's going to be simple. It's going to be effective. Don't be cautious when we call the plays. Go out there and execute it. And it ain't the play that's called. It's the player behind the play that's called. And then us giving, you know, coach that backing that. And that is the right play call. And, you know, it shows, it's, you know, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But, you know, what it does for our football team, for our offense, it shows those guys that the coaches has a trust and belief that they can go out there and make plays in crucial situations, on crucial downs, you know, critical parts of the football field. And with the self-awareness that we have on offense with our guys with experience and the character of those kids, you know, those kids go back and look at it and they'll come in and they'll say, well, Coach, I should have made that play, or thanks for believing in me. And that, just that confidence alone from us to down to them is going to allow us to put us in position to go be as good as we're capable of becoming.
Chad, you guys have moved Garrett outside a little bit more lately.
Yeah.
It's not new, but more. Is that just because you all trust him to make the right decision more?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, what works for him? Because it really stresses the defense, it looks like. They got spies everywhere, but a lot can go wrong there. A lot can go right. I mean,
Right.
how has that worked out?
It's worked out great. And the thing I love about it, he can sit in the pocket. He sat in the pocket and made big plays throwing the football. He sat in the pocket and, you know, found check downs that, you know, has turned into some big plays. And he's left the pocket and made big plays with his legs. And one of his areas of growth is that he's left the pocket and kept his eyes downfield and made a phenomenal throw for a big play or a touchdown with the receivers doing a great job scrambling downfield. I emphasized him the other day. One of the things he did phenomenally, last week we was in a walkthrough, and he threw a ball kind of like off balance. I'm like, what are you doing? Why you throw the ball like that? He said, Coach, I was simulating getting pressure in the game. And I don't know if you guys remember, I think it was 2nd and 1. It was in the score zone. He rolled out to the right. He threw a off balance throw to Devin Carter right on the sideline. And I immediately thought about that play. I asked him, like, why did he throw the football like that? So he's starting to even practice, starting to simulate what happens in games in practice, and we always talk about, you know, practice what happens, they even enable you to play your best when your best is needed. And so he's doing a phenomenal job, you know, making plays in the pocket, making plays with his feet, making plays, you know, finding the check downs, and he's doing a great job where some people say, well, sometimes, you know, the best plays are the broken plays. He's making plays on broken plays as well. So excited about where he's playing, his growth and his toughness and his physicality. Those guys, you know, they rally around him even more when they see a kid like that get knocked down, look like he's going to be out of the game, and he shakes it off and comes back, refuses to go out. I mean, that just inspires everybody else to go out there and play that much harder. I mean, if you guys see, I think it was the run we got stuffed on in the goal line, which was an undisciplined run. If you go back and look at that film, Garrett Green's in the middle of that thing blocking. He's like right in the pile. I mean, this is a kid that's, you know, he's hurting, he's banged up a little bit, and he's handing the ball off to C.J. Donaldson, and he finds a way to go get in. He's like literally in the middle of the pile. You know what I mean? That's kind of, you know, when you got a leader like that that's fighting for you like that, it's real hard not to fight the same way around him.
Coach, you must not take those unnecessary shots. Through one, he had himself exposed and put one on the ridge.
It is, and honestly, you know, part of, like, you know, he asked like, how much more can he grow? And I talked about his decision making. One of the ones where he got dinged up is one of the ones he should have handed the ball off. So, you know, and like I said, it's a give and take deal, but definitely he's getting better with that as the week goes, and got to keep improving.